Welcome to The Road Less Traveled with Tiffany Rosenbaum. This podcast is about sharing the success and failure of entrepreneurs. Join in and learn from others' mistakes so you don't have to go through the same hardships in business. Now let's welcome your host, business coach, real estate investor, and proud wife and mom, Tiffany Rosenbaum.
Welcome to another episode of The Road Less Traveled. We are here with Barak with Showdigs. I am incredibly excited to have him on. He went from being an employee to this company to being the owner of this company. And by the way, Barak, thank you for coming on and being willing to share your story with our viewers today.
Of course, would love to.
Awesome. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your backstory? Because Leor, one of my friends from another company, told me, oh, you got to know Barak. You got to know his story. So why don't you start there?
Well, the story can start with Showdigs or a bit before.
Okay.
Basically, I moved to the US 4 years ago with a different company. Was leading their sales and customer success. Worked there for 7 years. Like Leor, I moved to the US from Israel. I joined Showdigs about a year and a half ago. They reached out to me. So a headhunter reached out to me on LinkedIn. I wasn't very actively looking at the time, but I was pretty convinced that it's a good choice. I also really like the people. I think that was one of the main reasons I decided eventually to take a risk. And everyone that kind of asked me, why am I doing this, leaving stable, good job in a good, stable company to a seed stage startup that maybe has 1 year, maybe a bit more of run rate. I said, well, it's high risk, high reward. And I kind of took a bet on myself. So I joined leading sales and customer success for Showdigs back in December of 23. And we had a good year. We grew our customer base by 50%, which is not bad. It's not VC amazing. We were a VC-backed company. The biggest gap was that back then we were mostly consumption-based for our financial model. And you know probably better than me that 2024 was a very slow leasing year. So we didn't have the financials to justify, or VCs just didn't, our investors weren't ready to put in another round. We were looking at a few other options. We almost merged with a different company. That didn't happen. And eventually the company went to the bank, and we all kind of met. And when I say we all, 5 of us, that's 5 of those great people I mentioned earlier from Showdigs. And we said, I mean, we have a good thing going here. If we take out the debt and we go leaner, we have a profitable company. We have a lot of customers that are like on us every day. Are you making it? Please tell us you're making it. Gave us a lot of backwind. So we decided to put a bid on the company.
When you say we, real quick, was it not just you? Was it who?
It's me and a few others
Okay.
that are now running I mean, I'm the CEO, but we're all partners. So
Gotcha.
we're co-founders, if you will. The company used to be called, it was Showdigs all the time, the brand name, but the company was called Blue J Labs, and now it's officially also called Showdigs. So we bid, basically paid the company debt out of the bank, lower than the debt was. And now we're bootstrapped, own the company, and trying to run a very profitable, good business.
Okay, so I have a question, and I think our listeners are going to ask the same thing. You said you were a consumption. You were more consumption, and you were just spending money. Can you explain the concept of you were consumption based,
Yes.
so that they can understand that?
Basically, in software, you would the standard model and what a lot of companies do is they take a subscription model based on something, based on seats, usually. We initially thought it was a better idea to bill for what you use. Um, so in our leasing automation space, basically you pay for every rental you have on the market. Um, it Some of our customers really liked it, but our VCs did not because there is no easy way to forecast income. Um, and honestly, we lost a few deals over it because some property managers said, I just need to know how much I'm paying every month. I don't want to be surprised if I bring in 10, 20 new vacancies next month. I don't want to have a huge bill that I'm surprised by. Um, Now, those weren't common, but those happened, and I think it was a specific month where we lost two deals. So we decided to kind of level things with the rest of the market. Back then, when we made the decision to switch to subscription and property management, the standard is pay per door under management. That's what everyone's used to. So we said, okay, that's what makes sense for everyone. Let's do that as well. And honestly, the biggest impact on our sales process was it took demos down from 45 minutes to 30 minutes because we didn't need to spend 15 minutes explaining how we bill you.
You took out the headache. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
That's the difference, at least for us. That's what it was.
Okay. So I have another question. Now, you went from being an employee, a team member, and VCs came in and pretty much it went back to the bank because payments weren't
Yeah.
being made.
Yeah.
How was that process going through? Because you were going through a company going under.
Yeah.
How was that process? How scary
That
was it?
was um, challenging. I'm not recommending this as a standard operating process for founders. Pick your lane. Either you go VC or you go bootstrap, and then take VC money when you know you have the stability for it. Um, it was challenge. I mean, back in November, we kind of knew this is going to happen. We had a few options we were hoping would come to fruition. None of them did. So in December, with the board, the decision was made to close the company. Now, when you close, the main owner is now the bank because they carry the debt. I hope I'm saying the right terms. Maybe I
100%.
confused. Yeah. Um, but it was important for the bank to try and sell the asset because they want to retrieve as much of their debt as they could. So the company kept being operational. That said, they that company that took over to try and sell Showdigs had their own protocols. One of them was to inform all our customer base that the company is going through this process, which I forget the name. The acronym was ABC. I forget what it means. Um, Now, when it started, that process with the dissolving company, we kind of started talking, what are we doing about it? And we kept an open communication with customers. We kept responding to emails. We weren't taking new customers at that time for good reasons. It was for a period of a month, basically December. Um, we had to send, I think, weekly or bi-weekly emails stating the current status, if we found a buyer, if we found a partner that's going to fund. Um, our closest customers and partners, it was text phone based, so they stayed with us because they believed we would um, find a way out. But the biggest reason I don't recommend going through such a process, we lost a lot of really old, good customers. And for good reasons. I mean, the sensible business decision to make if you are using such a software and you're getting such a message is, um, in my mind, leasing automation is a crucial part of property management nowadays. So if your current provider goes out of business, you need to find a different provider. So the sensible business decision would be, okay, let me find an alternative. Um, we lost a few of our newest customers. Kind of said, okay, I just signed up. I'll sign out and go back to what I did before, go to a different provider. But we have customers that have been with us from not day one, but 4 or 5 years, and just said, okay, moving on. It's not smart business, and I agree with that. Um,
It's because of the
that
unknown. Like people just don't
yeah,
know what's going to happen. It becomes a struggle to go, hey, are we going to be able to do this in 30 days? Are we going to be able to do this in 45 days? And so people are trying to plan. But I mean, I can't imagine the heart wrenching, the stress, the everything that was going on behind the scenes. Because when a company is struggling like this and going back to the bank and y'all are trying to decide to buy it or not, how this is going to work. And what stress level, where did your stress level go from being a team member to being now an owner?
um, un, unexplainable, I would say, because it's not like I didn't have stress. I take very high ownership of what I
Mm-hmm.
do. It's my first time owning a company, but I never go, I never sit on the sidelines looking at how it goes and saying, okay, goes great, great, goes bad, okay. I try to be very involved in the success of the company. Um, so it wasn't easy stress wise to go through that process, but I would definitely say if you're prone to stress, go be an employee and not an employer. Um, I wrote a post about this on LinkedIn. I wasn't ready for one big change and how higher the highs are and how much
Or
lower
the
the
loves.
lows
Oh my
are.
goodness, you said that perfectly. And no one sees it. And so,
It's
like when Leora told me I needed to know your story, and when he told me about the VC and how it went under, and you turned into the owner, I was like, oh, he's got to be going through a lot of stress. I mean, it's just a whole nother level.
yeah,
You care, and
yeah.
everything's on your shoulders. Um, and it's hard to see. And so, but you made a decision to do bootstrap and not VC. Can you tell us that decision? Because it was VC, now you're bootstrapping it. So tell us first why you're bootstrapping it, and then I have another question.
So why we're bootstrapping it? The Showdigs has been around for more than 6 years. We have customers, we have cash flow, and with going leaner um, in a lot of aspects, we went leaner. Um, Read between the lines if you want, but we're now a cash flow positive company. We have a positive P&L.
Awesome.
Um, so with that in mind, I mean, do we want to go back on the train of VC? Can we justify around? Can we show growth that VC expect and then see the upside of venture capital? I honestly don't think so. Um, we've tried with all the funding. I mean, I've made a ton of mistakes in my first year at Showdigs that take me back with what I know today. I would probably do a much better job. But would I show the triple, triple, double, double that VCs want for a seed stage startup? I doubt it. Um, uh, but this is definitely a good company, like a good small business that makes cash flow, that even makes the people that work in it happy with what they do every day, with the people they work with, and with the salary they get. Um, and that's the goal. I mean, I don't think at any point going back to the VC train it's not top of mind for us.
Okay.
It's not. We're not there. We're at the point of, okay, I think we stabilized. We had a lot of turmoil. We're now stable. We're now growing again. We grew more than 20% in March, and we're
Congrats.
already beating. So we're at April 21st. We're already beating April of last year. Yes,
Congrats.
that's really, um, like I said, the highs are higher now.
But the
Um,
lows are lower. I can see
yeah.
it. It is. And so, what are some struggles that come with being bootstrapped, though?
What do you do with the cash you have,
Hmm.
and what do people do? So um, I used to just do. I used to have people in my team that help me do sales, help me do customer success. I now do all of that on my own, and then some. Um, uh, Taking days off, it's doable, but not without being involved. I had a week-long vacation where I worked, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, it's kind of like parenting, I would say. You don't get time off. Um, I mean, you can put them in front of the TV for a few hours and rest, but you're not off. You're on the clock 24/7. That's fine. I knew what I was signing up for.
You know what I love? I love your honesty. And the reason being is that this is what the true the road less traveled is all about. Like it's the roller coaster and a lot of times you don't see the heartache behind building a business. And I do want to go back to something you said because I could tell that it was a hard time, but I don't think people understand it and why sometimes it has to happen. You said you went leaner. And the question I want to ask is how hard was that decision to go leaner?
Well, it was forced on us because we couldn't afford it, but it was very hard because people we worked with for a long time, they did a great job. Really good people you want in your company, you can keep on the payroll. Um, Even more so, the people that are on the payroll had to make significant sacrifices to stay on the payroll. Um, just because we see the upside, um, and we know it's going to be tough, and we know it's going to take us a year, maybe two, to get to where we want to get to. But we know what we signed up for. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I don't know if you own a business or if you manage a team and you never let go of anyone, that's good. Um, and when I say good, it doesn't have to be a good performer. A good person that really tries. Um, it's hard. It's hard to let good people go.
It is hard to let good people go. I think sometimes it's even hard to let people that maybe aren't the best, but like it's hard because it's you never truly want to let someone go, but it's something that is a necessity in business.
It
Um,
is.
I love how raw you are about this. I'd love to ask one other question. What kind of transformation did you have to do as a person to go from a team member to a CEO, owner of a business? Like, what minds shift did you have to do?
Um, it's funny. When I joined Showdigs, one of my biggest hesitations was, and I told that to, I interviewed with one of the VCs, and I was very upfront. Look, I don't know if I can do this because to get this role right, I need to have co-founder level commitment. And I don't know if I have it in me. I'm now 40. I have two daughters. I'm not um, not as uh, I'm losing the word, but I'm not as um, young as I used to be. Um, and maybe not as hungry. Um, I think that was the transformation I really went through with this process. Not to say that I wasn't working really hard before this happened, um, but it wasn't as emotionally demanding as or my self expectation significantly increased. And now I know what it means to put in a co-founder level effort into a company.
Oh,
Uh,
100%. And I mean, your mind doesn't shut off. The stress the stress is real. Like when you go home, it's like you don't go home. Especially at this level, this young, it's really hard to shut it off. I think some people do an okay job of it, but when there's something going on at the office, a lot of times it's hard to go home and leave it at the office. Do you find that sometimes?
well, this is my office, and I'm at home. It makes it even harder.
Yes, it does.
Uh, it's very difficult, and um, you need to find ways to de-stress.
What do
But
you
there
do
are,
to de-stress? Because every entrepreneur has to find this. Because otherwise, you just run yourself into the ground. It just is what
yeah.
it is. What have you found yourself? What have you found to help you de-stress? Because this is a really hard thing to do.
The best de-stressor I had just went away. Snow is melting. I love to snowboard. And I live in the suburbs of Seattle, and I have a resort 40 minutes from home. Um, and it was just the last weekend, so I don't have that anymore. I got into meditation a few years ago. I don't say I practice it that often, but I love the approach of the here and now, um, and like clean your mind. I don't think meditation gives me that like a good run on the snow where you're not focused on anything aside from that, and you finish half a day, a few hours, a full day, and you're completely de-stressed. At least that's me. Now alternate, I don't know, jogging, working out. Um, but well, okay, I can have 6 to 8 months of stress until I can de-stress again. We'll see.
Well, I saw the picture on LinkedIn. That picture was beautiful. I was like, where is this? Because as I saw it, I mean, I literally de-stressed just by looking at the picture. It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was definitely gorgeous. So what? So I wanted to let you know, I actually have a client in Colorado, and she swears by y'all. She loves Showdigs, and I didn't realize what Showdigs was until I talked to her. Is that you can actually hire an agent to go show a property and have a person in person? Is that my understanding as well?
It's even easier because you don't hire a person. To hire a person, you're keeping yourself limited
Okay.
as if you have a person on your payroll or a 1099. Um, and this goes back to the reason Showdigs was founded. Um, Pre-COVID, when self-guided tours were not as popular as they are today, you kind of did most of your showings in person. Most property managers, at least. The idea was to simplify the process, to bring multifamily level effort that's low to single family operators. Um, Now, you can hire an agent, you can use the MLS, you can hire someone. Our model basically is Uber-like model. You need an agent? Okay, we'll match you an in-person agent every time you need it. It's not the same person. You're not hiring an agent, you're ordering an Uber.
Oh, nice.
Uh,
I like it how you how you put those two things together.
yes, there are a lot of advantages. There are some people would say some disadvantages, but our data disagrees with it, and we can go into that if you want. But um, basically, it means if you want to show, if you're showing properties in person still, one issue better than any other property manager that mostly does self showings is the seasonality. you probably need to let go of people in the winter, or they don't have enough work for you and they find something else and they quit. But then now in the springtime, you need to hire people, train them for the busy season of the summer, and then you go into that cycle over and over and over again. Um, you have tools that help you with that. You can use the MLS, or I mean, you can find people that are reliable W-2 and you pay them extra during downtime. But it's not efficient business and it prevents scalability, or it hinders scalability. And it's a low margin business to begin with.
Oh, it is.
Um,
Now, one thing that I thought was very interesting when you have a property that is behind a gate, this comes into, or a high end property where owners want their property shown in person. This actually becomes a very valuable thing because we have owners at times like, I want it shown because it's behind a gate. It's like millions and millions of dollars of a home. And we're like, okay, then we have to show it. But then because we are so self-showing lockboxes, we have to like put manpower towards that. And this is such a better resolution, better all the way around.
yeah, yeah, it is, and and the model works because it's flat fee, meaning there's no commission motivation here, which is good or bad. But one of the issues with commission motivated is the more you show it, the less you're motivated. Um, and a lot of operators tell us that this is an advantage because if they use the MLS agents that do work on commission, eventually they'll not show the unit after an X amount of showings because no one's renting it. It's a waste of time. This just works. You get a flat level of payment and a flat level of motivation, for good or bad.
Are you countrywide? Like, are you in every state? Are there any states you're not in it? Are there cities that you kind of stay out of? Or is it
We
everywhere?
we used to be very specific. We used to be very localized because it's hard to build a network. But a few months ago we went nationwide.
Nice.
It's been working really well for us. I will say if it's a small 5,000 people population city, the likelihood of the success there is lower. But every major metro, it works wonderfully. We've added a few new operators in the recent months where we didn't previously have presence, and it's working really well.
So you
Uh,
weren't nationwide and then you decided to go nationwide.
yeah.
What took you to make sure that was a success? What was the planning in that to make sure you could put this on in the roadmap and make sure it was a success for everybody?
Well, we tested this out for a while just to make sure it's going to work. Um, it was just like let's not play it safe as we used to.
No, I like
And
how
then
you said that. Like you tested it out because I think
yeah.
some businesses are like, "Hey, let's just go with it." But the problem is if you just go with it, sometimes you'll hit a roadblock and you'll hurt the brand of the company. So how did you test it to make sure it'd be successful nationwide?
Well, we found a few of our current customers that are in locations where
Nice.
we didn't serve before, and they partnered with us for that. It worked well. Um, we, I mean, we do have connections with other real estate companies that are not necessarily in property management. We leverage those relationships as well, and eventually our tests. I have to be honest, we were very skeptical going into this, um, but it ended up working, and it was a bet going nationwide because again, our tests were a bit local, but they were all good. Um, and fortunately, unfortunately, we're not growing at the VC rates of triple, triple, double, double. So every time we add a new operator, we can still very highly focus on making it work and making sure that before they sign up, we know it works. We just this month, we added two new operators in Hawaii. we were never there. But
Congrats.
before, thank you, but before they signed up, we tested it to make sure it's going to work, and it works. It worked better than we expected again.
I love that you said you tested it. And I think that's so incredibly important to like work through it a little bit before just launching it to make sure you can be successful at it. I think there's twofold. You got to do the research behind it to make sure, but then you got to take action, and that's why y'all were successful at it. That's amazing. So, what does it look like for this next year for Showdigs?
Well, we're not as focused on marketing, unfortunately, bandwidth and financials, but we're very focused on products. Um, we're working on adding more, um, let's call it AI functionality.
Nice.
Um, a few agents that support the operation. So what we do is we do leasing automation. We help with the entire leasing side of the business, not just with agents, so also self showings and everything around that. I think our biggest focus for the year is how we can reduce days on the market or help reduce days on the market because we know it's a big thing. And for us, it means how we can help operators convert better from leads to tours, however they choose to do their tours. And that's where we're focusing our roadmap now, how you can better communicate with leads, how we can better convert them. Um, that's and at this point, we don't have a 12, 24-month roadmap. We're looking at 3, 6 months ahead. I know today we're very much at feature parity with all our competitors, most of them, or beating them with what we can offer. And we're just looking at what's really top of mind for property managers today to um, just to make our offering more meaningful. Not to say um, we want to sell to everyone. Not everyone's going to buy this, but eventually the idea is to give enough value to keep justifying our place in the space.
100%. And I love that because the market's changing so rapidly, especially with AI. And as a business owner, you got to be coming in every single day and go, okay, what's changing? How do I develop and how do I get better? I
Yeah.
mean, the rapid pace that things are moving are incredible. Like, what are you doing to stay at top of market on a daily basis? Like, to know the trends, to know what's changing. How are you staying on top of it?
Well, I'm going to conferences, um, and honestly, I'm not a property manager, and maybe that's one of my gaps. So, a few things I do. I read newsletters from specific operators. I can name them, but I don't know. Up to you if you want me to or not.
Either way.
Um, I read a few of those. I watch your videos, and I speak with my clients. That's what I do, just to understand what we can contribute eventually. Um, and it's a very small niche, honestly, leasing, but it is an important one. But the short answer is that I try to read and talk.
And I would say leasing's a really important one because if we're not leasing out the properties as property management companies, then we're going to lose clients because
Yeah,
clients only make money when there's a resident in there. So that's
yeah.
incredibly important to stay on top of. I love that you said you ask for feedback from your clients because I think that's actually one of the areas that a lot of business owners actually forget to do. And those are their feedback is so incredibly important. That's how we get better. So
Right.
do you ask for feedback from your clients, your teams? Like, are y'all very actively in asking for feedback on your customer service?
The way I do, I have two main ways I do this. One is every time I have a new customer that I onboard, because I do the sales and I do the onboarding and the support and everything. Um, at a certain point when the onboarding kind of ends, and I'm very hands-on in it, the first thing I do is I ask for feedback, as I want to know, does it really give you the value? what are you missing? What would we be able to add that gives you more value? Kind of use that to add ideas to our roadmap. Um, that to me is significant, number one. But the number two is um, every time I go face to face with customers, especially in conferences, just now with Broker Owner, I have another one in a month here in the Northwest. And hopefully later this year, another one or two. I get to have those more in-depth, meaningful conversations with customers. Um, I had maybe an hour-long conversation with one of our oldest customers in Broker Owner, um, and I kind of brainstormed with her about what I had in mind and what she had in mind. And I'd say a, this gives me a lot of value into what I can and should be building down the road. It's one point of view, but then I need to take it to other customers and kind of survey them. Um, who knows? Maybe eventually we'll make it a customer-wide survey and ask them. But currently, it's more me asking.
I love that. I love that. I think feedback is incredibly important. Now, my next question is actually going to be it could be a hard question or an easy question. Now, and if you don't feel comfortable answering it, just tell me that. I like to ask in-depth questions because, like you saw at the very beginning, is a lot of people don't see the struggle that entrepreneurs go through. How has the entrepreneurship, the new business, the entrepreneurial journey affected your family?
It's interesting because my wife is also kind of in a similar journey
Nice.
at the same time. Um, it it's interesting because um, we're in it together. We have two daughters that fortunately are a bit older and more mature now, 6 and 8. I don't know if you consider it older and mature, but we treat them as such because
I like it.
we have to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we're open about it. We're communicating about it. And one thing I try and do is um, mostly I block my mornings to be with them in the morning. And I don't take evening meetings, so we have family time. Um, but in between, they understand. Their parents have to work. Mommy and daddy have to work. Um, I would say the biggest, it's very specific to helping us. Um, one of their best friends lives next door, and she just comes over every day after school.
That helps.
So it keeps them busy, and they don't need us. So really, it just works.
No, that's awesome. And I like what you said, and I might have heard wrong, but tell me if I'm wrong, that you communicate with your wife. So y'all
Yeah.
must talk about like the struggles, like you have someone you can vent to a little bit, like, oh, today sucked or oh, today was good. And I think that's
We also
always
do it with with our daughters.
oh,
They're
good.
part of the conversation.
That's awesome. They're seeing the real life of entrepreneurship.
Yeah. And we want them to see it. We're not hiding. Oh, everything's great. No, Daddy had a really hard day at work, or Daddy's super busy. Um, it doesn't mean they won't come in during a meeting and headbutt me and say that they need me while I'm demoing someone, but it's fine. People are used to it now post COVID.
Post COVID, it has changed. The world has changed when it came to that. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. I love that y'all have learned how to communicate, make it work. Because I do find entrepreneurship and marriage sometimes they hit heads a little bit. As I've interviewed a lot of people, it's like, what are you doing to make sure your marriage stays strong? Because a lot of the divorce rate is actually higher in entrepreneurship than non-entrepreneurs. It's interesting to watch. And one thing my husband and I do is we really really try to go on a date every week. We try to have that alone time because otherwise it's like we just work or we just parent. And so we try to get away and try to be able to communicate, vent if we need a vent or something.
Well, I would say specifically for my wife and I, we already went through one significant life event together, which was relocation.
Oh wow.
Uh,
Yeah.
so we were already very um, well connected at
Awesome.
that point. So we knew hardship and how to go past it. And honestly, this was I was before making that decision. I was in advanced process with a different company, a startup company, to be their CRO. Um, and I mean, my wife and I were in the process together. Do I take the Showdigs opportunity for a bigger um, high-end potential? But currently, it's something we'll need to deal with as a family. Um, and it was very much a shared decision.
Oh, I love that. I love it. I mean, just by how you talk about your wife, I gotta meet her one day because you can tell like everything y'all do is a companionship. It's a discussion. It's hey, this is gonna be hard, but we can get through
Yeah,
it. This is gonna be a struggle, but we can get through it. You know, and I think
yeah,
that's what's so
yeah.
important.
She's taking the night meetings, so she talks to her clients at 8, 9, 10 p.m. Um, so our daughters miss her at those hours, but it's working for her business, and yes, it's all part of the like it's can I take a 9 p.m. meeting that day before she takes it?
I I love it. And you figure out what works, and that's what's important. So awesome. I want to be respectful of your time. I love your story. I love it. To going from a team member to an entrepreneur and really diving deep and going through the stress and going through the roller coaster. But real quick, what is the best advice you've ever received, Barak?
Like in life,
Yeah, anything. Anything. What's the best advice?
um, fix your sleep.
Fix your sleep. I have never heard that one. You got to explain it a little bit to me.
I mean, if there's one thing I still try and prioritize, um, is a good sleep. I, for many years, was a bad sleeper. I don't think I would have made it without um, having stable nights of sleep. Even with all the stress, obviously, some nights are bad if it's a very stressful period, but um, have your routine, go to bed every day at the same time, wake up at the same time every day and try to get your 6, 7 hours. That's my take.
I love
Um,
that. No, sleep is really important because your body can handle a lot more if you get the sleep. But if you're
yeah.
running ragged and you're stressed all the time and you're not getting sleep, you're gonna get sick. You're gonna yeah. I love that. What is the worst advice you've ever received?
I got a lot of bad advice in the past, but I can't name any because I never took it probably.
I like that.
Um, I think the one advice that I don't think it's a bad advice. It wasn't a good advice for me. With my first leadership role is you have to do team meetings. Um, and you don't do what works for you and your leadership style. Don't get stuck in a cube. Every company is different. Every manager is different. Every process is different. Sometimes you need a team meeting, but I find one-on-ones to be a much better um, ways of managing people, especially in a team environment, because what ended up happening, especially me working always in my life in Israeli companies with a US based team, is I would do a team meeting and something would failing in the communication, not just by me, but by the way the company communicates. And then I would still have to go one on one and address everything. Um,
One-on-ones are so important. We could have a whole session on one-on-ones. I think one-on-ones are really we do team meetings as well, but one-on-ones, oh, that is something that is imperative for a business.
yeah,
I totally agree.
yeah. I would say a daily, how much I don't like the bad rep it has is
Hmm.
maybe better than a team meeting. like have a 5-10 minute stand up just to highlight things and just move on, instead of once a week, once every 2 weeks, something that's structured but confusing.
Okay. Now I have another question. One last question. Well, two actually. For our listeners, if someone's going through this time, they're going through the roller coaster, what advice do you have for them to help them get through it?
Sleep well.
I like it.
If What advice? I mean, if you're in a family environment like me, make sure you're not keeping to yourself. Talk about things. Um, and keep an open communication with your team as well. Everything has to be on the table. Nothing goes under the rug. Um, and it's tough. I mean, if you're not ready for tough, don't do it. Um, just, just that.
I agree. And one last question then. Is there a book that you would recommend for our listeners to read that would help them through this journey?
Yes, the scout mindset.
The what?
The scout mindset.
Oh, the Scout Mindset. I haven't read that one. I'll have
That's
to
a
read
great
it.
one.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we really appreciate having you on. Barak, where can they find you if they want to look up Showdigs, learn more about you? Where can they find you, our listeners?
I try to be active on LinkedIn, so you can find me there. And if you want to look at Showdigs, we're at showdigs.com, or just reach out to me directly on LinkedIn.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and being so open, because this is what entrepreneurship is all about.
I appreciate the stage. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in today to The Road Less Traveled. If you're organizing an event, workshop, or simply planning something exciting and would like to have Tiffany Rosenbaum join you, or want to have her on your podcast, visit TiffanyMRosenbaum.com and click on Book Tiffany to get started.